Hello and welcome back to all 611 of you amazing consumers of Pax Dei content out there, as well as the nearly 70% of you who have not yet hit that subscribe button. I'm Altari, the Professional Gamer, and this is another Pax Friday review, the show where we talk about all the fun, interesting, new, and exciting information that has dropped over the last week for Pax Dei. This week, we got some new statistics on the current Friends and Family Alpha, as well as a bunch of new screenshots from a village being erected to what looks to be some magic, as well as a dungeon and a couple of dead people. And all the meanwhile, Mainframe seems to be pushing for us to all be signed up for the Pax Dei Alpha. So we're going to be going through all of that and a bunch more. So make sure that you stick through to the end of the video to make sure you don't miss anything. That being said, if you haven't done so already, be sure to like this video, subscribe so that you can get notified whenever we post new information about Pax Dei, and share this video with any of your friends who might be interested as well. Let's go ahead and get into some screenshots. All right, well, if there's one thing I definitely am not, it's a liar. We do have screenshots to come to, but before we get to that, we had some statistics from the ongoing Friends and Family Alpha. I just wanted to touch on this really quick. We have numbers, we don't have names, so it looks like the names have been kept anonymized. We have some information. It looks like 1,771 players have died by falling. One unfortunate player who placed first in this category died 33 times to gravity. That's unfortunate. We also have a couple of stats on explorers. It looks like over 47,000 kilometers have been traveled by players, as well as approximately 180 kilometers traveled in dungeons alone. That is a very, very interesting statistic, as well as 7,187 fanatics have been brutally murdered. And at the very bottom here, we have some statistics on the most crafted objects so far. It looks like in Pax Dei, we have some charcoal. 512,000 individual charcoals have been manufactured, 104,000 wooden pegs, 96,000 strong beams, 91,000 rough beams, 86,000 strong planks. Now, for some reason, it does say X6 and X3, so I think when you're manufacturing a wood peg or a strong plank, potentially you're manufacturing more than one, so these are in multiples of 6. That would mean that there is about 624,000 wood pegs that have been created by players, and about 270,000 strong wooden planks that have been manufactured. That is incredible. That is a lot of processing power that these alpha players have done. And then at the very top here, we do have our master builders. Approximately 346,000 individual pieces have been placed by alpha testers during this current test period, with one individual player placing over 25,000. That is insane. So now that I've just read all of that and reacted to it, let's go ahead and get into some actual screenshots. Now, these first set of screenshots, we're going to go through relatively quickly because it's almost like it's a time lapse of the birth of a village. Here we have the start of everything. It's just a clear green pasture with some forest surrounding it and what looks to be a couple of manufacturing tables. And now we see a more cleared out space. We have a couple of more manufacturing benches. You can see that there are a lot of storage chests. There are a couple of crafting tables, what looks to be a furnace, possibly a blacksmithing bench. And I can't tell if these are rocks or maybe kilns, but either way, it looks like we have a nice little scenic valley off in the distance as well. And then here we can see that there are some buildings that are coming up kind of near the tree line, as well as what looks to be the start of either a dock or a bridge, and just another angle of all of the crafting materials that are going into this. And then we do have the start of the village proper with a couple of bridge pieces being laid down by the players that we can see here, as well as what looks to be the framing for a very large building, possibly a warehouse or something like that, as well as a couple of other house structures kind of lined around the area. One thing that I did notice in these images here is we can see what looks to be these tiny little mud piles here. I wonder if that means that that is a resource that can be acquired. I'm not really sure on that, but we'll have to wait till we get in to see ourselves. Here is another image from the other side of the lake of that building. It looks like it might be a little bit before the bridge was actually being made, but we can see the start of the makings of some of these homes, the skeletons and frameworks of the homes. Here's another shot of them as they're a little bit more developed, and we can see that there's buildings going all the way in the back, as well as some being placed much more towards the front. And then here we have the first shot of this really big, what is going to be a crafting kind of center, it looks like, where there's a lot of different crafting materials. And then moving on, here is that manufacturing facility that I was talking about. We have a lot of what looks to be certain types of kilns, as well as some furnaces over here, it looks like, or just a different type of kiln, I can't tell. And then we have some smelters within these really big furnaces that were in the back. And it looks like these players are very industrious, and they are going to be processing a lot of materials to get all of these buildings up and running. And then we have a staircase that is just creeping up to the top of this hill. I wonder what that is going to look like later. And here is another view, it looks like, from that staircase. And you can see that the buildings are all the way off in the distance. This is actually pretty crazy how far away this looks, and we still have all of the draw distance up there. It also looks like there might be a building all the way up top. So it's incredible that these draw distances are so far, though one thing I would like to see maybe a little bit more is it looks like the tree draw line is cut off right here, but the building draw line is cut off further away. It would be really nice to see maybe the trees existing right here, but then again, we also see some trees over there, so I'm not sure if that's the case. Maybe that's just a wide open field. Here's another shot of the village, and this looks to me like it is indeed a storehouse of some kind. We have a lot of different barrels lined up. That looks like a bona fide Amazon warehouse if I've ever seen one, and just another good angle of the city. And here is some more of the homes that have been placed around it. Next, we have a nighttime shot, then a nighttime shot of the completed bridge, as well as a majority of this, what looks to be the main center of the city. And then we've got a dock that looks like it's forming down here. Nice bridgeway that's going over a street, and what looks to be some furnaces in the background. It also, I can't tell if this is a rock or if this is the backside of a mountain, but it's definitely something. And then another really tall building. This is 1, 2, 3 stories with a roof on top. That is a very tall building, and we can tell that they are having to use some stone pillars there to support it, it looks like. And another image just of nighttime in this really big structure that has just a lot of windows. It looks like they're also spreading some distance out between the walls using what looks to be the railing pieces that we've seen previously. So looks like they're doing something pretty unique there. And then this is a top-down image of this village that's being built. We can see at least 10 to 12 different buildings in various stages of being constructed. So it'll be really cool to see what this looks like when it's all finished. Now, earlier in the week, we also got some leaks from the developers, and it looks like they were trying to clear out some kind of point of interest that existed in the open world. So not in a dungeon per se, but something out in the actual wilderness, it looks like. And if I had to guess, it looks like they had a pretty unfortunate time. We have some tombstones right here and what looks to be a final player who's holding on desperately to their final last breaths of life. And here is a very, very scenic shot of what looks to be a mountaintop surrounded by a valley almost. And we have a couple of different ruins here, windmill plus what looks to be a castle, as well as a couple of other ruined buildings across. So I wonder if this is where those players were fighting in the previous image. But either way, this looks like a really cool place. And it also looks like players are able to build there. So we can see that there's a lot of crafting structures that are going up here. It looks like there might actually be a new type of rock. This almost looks like some kind of maybe copper or something like that is inside the rock. All right, and then here's one of the last images that we got from the leaks, and this is just another image from the bridge line. We can see that it looks like a rock has spawned on top of this building, so that's definitely still, the game is in alpha and definitely has some bugs to it, and that's something that I'm sure the devs are working on to clean up. And then just a really nice, serene, peaceful nighttime shot of a field full of rocks, and it looks like this player is out gathering some materials and just took a picture of the nighttime sky. And now we're into some of the bug images. Here we have some death caps. They look innocent enough, but I would never eat a mushroom that size. I'm pretty sure that's a bug. They shouldn't be so overgrown, but it's funny to see. Then we have what looks to be someone that is trying to flash us, but they knew that this video was going to go up on YouTube and they censored themselves for us. It looks like whatever they were wearing is completely untextured, and now their model is just invisible on the places that their body is covered by whatever that clothing piece was. And then here we have what looks to be inside of a dungeon, and this player is definitely wearing a cape, but we have a better picture of that coming up. We also see two different what looks to be spells. Okay, so this is actually really, really big. We've been wondering for a long time how magic is going to work in game, and as you can see here, we've seen this C button before, but it said inventory next to it. Now it says C next to it and spells, so I wonder if that means you're able to switch between a spell book and your inventory by pressing C, and this is now your skill line, where you can use all of your skills on your number keys. So it looks like here we have some kind of angelic imagery here with the sun, so maybe that is a healing spell or some kind of buffing spell, and I would be darndest if I didn't say that this was a fireball. This gotta be a fireball. It also has a question mark on it. I don't know what that question mark might be relating to. One thing that I also noticed here as well is that there is a number 17 next to this particular spell. So I think the developers might have mentioned at one point that there's like reagents that you need to use for different magical abilities. And if there's a number down here, I would say that might be allocated to how many times this person can cast the spell. So maybe there's something in their inventory that is allowing them to cast those spells, but it could also maybe be like the player's level in that type of spell or something like that. And then we have this very scenic shot with a cape looking off into the valley. What an awesome sunset or sunrise. I'm pretty sure this is a sunset. As the sun is going down, we have our cape flowing in the wind, and we're looking to all of our future possibilities. That being said, talking about future possibilities, Mainframe in their announcement today was making a solid push to make sure that all players were going onto their website. This is at playpaxday.com, and going onto their website and making sure that they're signed up for the alpha, that you have the green check mark if you need it. They also are recommending that players connect their Discords to their account. They do mention that that is something that is not required but it is definitely something that will help in the future if your Discord account is connected. So maybe there's some kind of Discord interconnectivity going on with the game. But then there is also a mention of making sure that all of your friend codes are connected together. Now, what they said is that a friend code isn't necessarily going to get you into the game any quicker, but if one of your friends is connected to the same friend code that you are, and they get in, then that increases your chances of getting in as well. I think it's very, very exciting that they are talking about this particular aspect of the alpha, because to me, that means they're getting very, very close to an alpha release date, or at least giving us more information, and they want to make sure that all of the players have been signed up for the alpha and that they're everywhere where they need to be. So for all of you out there who are just finding out about Pax Dei and you want to be signed up for that alpha, go ahead and head over to playpaxdei.com. The link is down in the description below. Make sure you sign up for the alpha, and you're going to see a little green check mark that's going to be on your account page. And that green check mark means that you are ready to get an alpha invite. Now, I don't know if it's going to be a staggered launch or if there's going to be only a couple of invitations that are going out for the alpha that's going to start before the end of this year. But that being said, we're going to be here the entire way to cover all of it for all of you. Hopefully we're fortunate enough to get in. Hopefully there's not going to be an NDA and we're going to be able to go and start our adventure in Pax Dei together. That being said, if you haven't done so already, be sure to like this video if you enjoy this type of content. Hit the subscribe button so that you can get notified whenever we post new information about Pax Dei, and share this video with any of your friends who might enjoy Pax Dei as well. Until next week, I'm Altari, the Professional Gamer.